Why, well, doggone. Hello there, horse people. Just thinking about you when I was finishing up this drawing. Wanted you to know how much I appreciated the interest that you've taken for the past 10 years in my little magazine articles. Two of the series and magazines have kind of stirred up quite a controversy among horse riders. The Cattleman series, Horse Handling Science, touches on training. Series hits the high spots of riding by reasoning. Well, I've also worked for the Horse Lover, Back in the Saddle, the Quarter Horse Journal, and 2 or 3 others. My name is Monte Foreman. Some folks say I'm the most controversial author ever to latch on to Western horsemanship. Well, I don't know. Horsemanship has been a controversial subject down through the ages. Much of its action is faster than the eye. However, we can slow down the action with motion picture photography. Our film really should have been called Introduction to World Horsemanship. Its methods were derived from horsemen and from the better horse hands in country. They have taught me the little I know. I have only translated their fundamentals to help other riders to understand what to look for in performance and why it works. Okay, I've said enough. All this talking commentary makes me all jumpy. Feel like an old wild cow hiding in the Wasatch during roundup. Don't know whether to stand still or stampede. All right, cowboys, get your Levi's in the saddle. Let's see what makes a working horse work. Speaking of saddles, here's one of the balanced ride type that is designed for maximum utility. Stirrups are hung forward enough to keep the rider's feet from getting behind his seat during the faster actions. This results in better balance for both rider and horse. In balanced ride design, the riggings are built into the skirts to reduce weight and bulk under the rider's legs. Boz Saddlery, Granby, Colorado, built this saddle, and even though it weighs only 27 pounds, it carries an unconditional guarantee. Weights vary with different manufacturers, but I personally like very light, yet very strong saddles. Here's the way your Levi's and boots get a grip around the horse's barrel. You can feel the horse, he can feel your leg aids. Incidentally, this saddle is my own registered design and is a result of 10 years testing and experimenting. It does have a little handling savvy. Control of his forequarters is by reins, his hindquarters by the right leg. Watch my left leg closely here. His hindquarters move away from the leg pressure. Watch rider's right leg. Now horse's hindquarters give away to the left. The leg aids control placement of the horse's hind legs. Making the hindquarters turn around the forelegs is called turn on the forehand. Now watch rider's left leg. Horse should keep forequarters in the same spot, moving hindquarters around. Here's hindquarter control, backing guided by leg aids. Press right leg, horse's hindquarters move to the left. Press with the left leg, moves his hindquarters to the right. Let's do turns on the hindquarters. We handle the forequarters with the rein aids, but keep the hindquarters from moving out of place with our leg aids. The horse's withers should always stay higher than his croup for best performance. The more he carries and handles his weight on his hindquarters, the easier and faster he actually can turn. War paint's the result of quarter horse, fancy high-tail five-gated show horse, and paint horse breeding. His mixed-up movement looks like that of an old sick cow moose I once saw up in Wyoming. At a walk and trot, which are diagonal gaits, a horse can turn either to the right or left without restriction. He needs no change of foot movement. However, at a lope, every horse becomes right-handed or left-handed. Here's the left-handed lope. Left front leg is traveling and leading farther forward than the right front leg. Left hind leg is working the same way. The left side is the leading side. Let's change to the right lead. Watch for the break in his loping rhythm. Right here. Now he's leading with the right front and right hind feet. This is the drop to a trot, change of leads. Change again. Here. Almost faster than the eye, isn't it? Here's another. And now a different kind of change, making the hind feet change first. Here, here, again, and once more. Watch his hind feet changing first. This is the most difficult to teach, but best in use. It takes both rein and leg aid training, plus lots of coordination between horse and rider. The coordination must start with the rider cueing the horse at the right time, making it possible for the horse to respond properly. Here's another type of change, the rollback from one lead to the other. To the left takes the left lead. Roll back to the right takes the right lead. The hindquarters should stay in place. Front legs should come all the way around and jump out in one stride. And now, here's 360-degree inside rolls to the right lead. When circling to the right, in the right lead, the leading feet are nearer the inside of a circle. Therefore, it's called the inside lead. Roll back to the left. The left lead is now the inside lead. Here's a 360-degree inside roll. The horse pivots over his left hind foot, keeping it in place. Then he lopes around it with his other three legs. The pivot leg is the weight-carrying leg. So it is easily seen that a horse in the left lead can turn without limit to the left at any speed. This is true to the right when in the right lead also. War Paint is a systematically trained horse. For comparison, let's watch a horse that hasn't been worked with reason, or by system, or by knowledge. Here's a horse that tries to do everything in the left lead. When he gets over in the right lead, it's usually an accident. Contrary to general belief, it is the riders who make the horse habitually one-sided. To the right, Yellow Wagon takes the wrong lead. A habitually left-leaded horse turns about as easy to the right as a car with a flat on the left front wheel. And it seems strange that so many riders do not know about leads, yet ride all their lives, missing approximately 1/3 of their horse's efficiency. Like here, where the rider tries to make a smaller turn to the right. No go. Wrong lead again. Now let's see a flying change from the left lead to the right lead and turn short circle to the right. Change leads here, but he doesn't do it. He has no turn or change at the rider's command, but can't handle without him. Here's his attempts at rolling back. Takes off in the left lead, turns and walks around to the right, then lopes off in the wrong lead again. Yes, sir, this is a wonderful demonstration showing how sorry a rollback can be done. The rider now attempts a 360-degree inside roll to the left. Watch the horse's head. Rider cannot place or control it, nor can he pull it around because the curb bit upper shank jams into the horse's jaw. Here, at the disunited canter, which is the right lead in the front and left lead behind, he attempts a 360-degree inside roll to the right. He's head fighting again. A curb bit allows little head control. Here again, he uses the wrong lead. It seems marvelous, but some horses do learn to handle fairly well in spite of this type of hit or miss working. Yellow Wagon is now yanked to a prop stop with one jerk on the reins. Now in the right lead, he's headed for another stiff-legged prop stop, mostly caused by the riders who rear back and yank, breaking the horse's rhythm. Now let's watch a horse with good balance and movement. Here he's loping in the right lead. First change from the right lead to the left lead. These are flying changes executed by a wonderfully balanced horse. The second change from the left lead to the right lead. Smooth, isn't it? And easy for him. Here's the third change. His front feet change first, followed in the same stride by the hind change. Fourth change from the left to the right. Now on the fifth change, he's 2 strides slow in responding. He should change on the stride the rider asks. Here's a 180-degree inside pickup roll in the left lead. And now a stop, pickup roll back in the right lead. Second roll back from the right to the left lead. Third roll back from the left to the right lead. Now here's one he misses by disuniting in his front feet. He needs practice in left turns, so the rider calls for left turns. Now let's work another horse in semi-slow and slow motion to study faster than the eye movements. Here's Charles E. King's 5-year-old gelding, Poco Big Brother, in the left lead. His left front and left hind legs are leading. We bring him down to a 360-degree inside roll to the left lead in semi-slow motion. The horse should not break the loping rhythm. Here's the second 360-degree inside roll to the left lead. Big Brother is working here on a rope halter. And now the left lead in slow motion. Here's the 360-degree inside roll. Brother has to work extra hard because he puts too much weight on his front legs. Down to the second 360 inside roll. The horse must stay in the left lead on the left inside rolls. Here's semi-slow motion of the right lead while turning to the left. The horse's hindquarters travel outside the left front foot. Looks awkward, doesn't he? However, when the rider deliberately makes the horse use the wrong lead, it's called the false lead. Now we cut to slow motion of the false lead to the left. Few horses can make a circle smaller than this at the false lead. For a smaller circle to the left, he must change both front and hind feet to the left lead, right here. And now he can turn to a pivot at the center. At the right lead, the horse's hind feet straddle the right front foot. His hindquarters actually make a smaller circle than his quarters, making him more agile and supple in the true lead. Going down to a right lead 360, his forequarters move around his hindquarters. The hindquarters should always make the smallest turn unless the horse is in the false lead. And now slow motion of the right lead. The horse rolls up and over his right front leg and carries all weight on it at this beat of the stride. Both hind legs straddle it. with the right hind leading to the right of the lead front leg. The left front and right hind legs work almost together at a slow lope, down to a 360 in the right lead and then out. There is no change of leads on an inside roll. Here's another 360 to the right. The rider must know the feel of each lead and should correct each mistake the horse makes. We wanted a false lead here, which in this case is the left lead to the right. When working strictly by rider control, a horse never knows what is to be done next. He can never perform his best unless the rider puts him in position for the next maneuver ahead of time. The man must not only know more than the horse, he must know how to help the horse. In the next sequence, the rider turns the horse with the reins without positioning his hindquarters. The horse breaks to a trot and goes out of time with his hind feet. When his feet are corrected, he has no trouble with the 360. When disunited in the hind legs, he has no pivot or weight-carrying leg. Remember, this is the rider's mistake. Okay, let's slow motion that mistake. He goes disunited here. His hindquarters fall to the outside. Instead of being agile, he becomes awkward, and it's impossible for him to make a shorter turn. And here, the hind leg changes to the true lead, and he'll have no trouble making the 360 right turn. The best results are obtained when the horse is helped by the rider instead of being thrown off balance. Here's another disunited run from the false lead. Watch the feet closely. He disunites here in the hind feet, but catches the lead here. And now he can turn to the right. Again, in slow motion, the false lead. He goes disunited here and is not physically able to turn. He catches the true lead here. And now the 360. It is understandable that the horse is always wrong when he's disunited. He takes the wrong lead. Rider corrects him for the true lead. Now, here's something to remember. At a slow cow country lope, it is very difficult for the majority of horses to change leads. Their front feet will change easily enough, but getting their hind feet across is the difficult part. The easiest complete slow change for a horse with a little schooling is the drop to a trot change. However, the rider must know how to use both rein and leg aids. In this picture, we have purposely used green and medium school horses because better finished horses under well-schooled horsemen do not make these mistakes. We plan to show more finished horses in later pictures. Here's the drop to a trot change in slow motion. The horse should take only one stride at the trot while making the changeover. The transition should be smooth, not like Brother does it. He throws too much weight on his front quarters, making it more difficult. The rider again corrects the horse on, and now, at faster speeds, winches. He changes in front, but misses his hind feet and goes disunited for several strides. The second flying change is completed. Next one is a simultaneous change. Here, next change is in his front leg only. Throws all his weight on it, tries to turn too much, almost falls, then changes back to the wrong lead. Now let's study it in slow motion. Here's the complete change. His front feet change first, the hind change in the same stride. Here's the simultaneous change, front and back feet swapping together. And now the disunited change. Front change, too much weight goes on the lead leg, almost falls, then back to the wrong lead. It's awkward and it's dangerous. Now here's another horse. Watch his flying change here. He's a half-step disunited in his hind feet, but he catches the lead. His hind feet disunite here. He's over-anticipating. Front change from the left lead here. Without leg aid control and training, the horse is always guessing. Hind feet again disunite here. 4 strides, then the front feet change. The rider's leg aids must control the horse's hindquarters. Otherwise, the horse is always at a disadvantage to handle with maximum efficiency. In semi-slow motion, the change, a stride short behind. The hind feet disunite here. The front change here after 4 disunited strides. Hind go disunited here again. Front change here after 4 disunited strides. Hind feet disunite here. Front change 4 strides later here. It takes competent riding and training to prevent disuniting. He misses hind feet change here and stays in the disunited lope. Attempts a change here, misses hind feet again, unites here, and does first complete change of leads of his work. Here's another maneuver that requires a change of leads, the rollback. We'll use Poker Big Brother again. He rolls back from the right to the left lead. His hindquarters should stay in place. Roll from the left to the right lead. Front feet should make 1 stride around, not 3. Hind feet untrack here, causing loss of time, ground, and energy. Note how this horse drops his withers lower than his croup. Too much weight goes on his front legs, making him work harder and taking longer for the rollback. Okay, Big Brother, whoa. Well, there's a balanced stop. And now slow motion of the Big Brother rollbacks. Roll back to the right. 4 strides with the front feet instead of 1. Weight on his forequarters caused those extra strides. On this one, his right hind displaces. Again, it's wasted energy and time. Big Brother's forequarters drop too low on all his rollbacks. Withers should always stay higher than his croup. However, for a green horse, he keeps his hindquarters in place pretty well. And now here are rollback attempts by a rider with no knowledge of controlling the horse's hindquarters with his leg aids. First, the rider disunites the horse by reining too soon. Bay's hind feet came loose here. Same here. Uses 6 strides and 3 extra yards to get back on his line of rollback. With leg aids, the rider can keep the hindquarters from displacing or disuniting. Here, 3 strides in front instead of 1. Time wasted. If the horse's hind feet displace, he cannot maneuver out of an inside roll or roll back without breaking his rhythm. Rhythm and agility go together. A break in the rhythm causes awkwardness. Here's slow motion. Watch the front legs for strides, hind feet for displacement, and withers lower than the croup. The handling of the rein, weight, and leg aids is very important. Stop in the true lead, then roll back into the other lead. If turned before he is checked enough, the momentum will carry the horse farther along. Now here's old Joe with about 10 years of hit or miss handling. Here's a fair rollback, but he disunited a couple of strides out. Disunited, he has to go too far left. Takes the wrong lead, then can't turn. On the rollback to the right, he comes out disunited again. On the rollback to the left lead, he loses rhythm and smoothness by jerky actions. Takes the wrong lead again. Like his other work, his stop is also a little out of time and balance. For a balanced stop, the horse should be ready to roll either to the right or left without any lost motion. Now here's my friend George Britton, Bull Ansel, who ranches west of Wichita Falls, Texas. Cattle are his business, horses his transportation. He don't ride for pleasure. That makes him a despicable character, all right, but he's likable and too big to fight. Bull on a horse called Walkie is demonstrating a typical cow country handle with a curb bit. Notice the way Walkie's shaking his head. That is caused by curb bits and by riders yanking and handling their reins too high, as Bull is demonstrating. He has no control over where the head goes, and it goes plenty, up, down, and to each side. Watch Walkie's head and his leads. Takes the wrong lead, then changes only in his front feet. Changes to the correct lead on the turn to the right. Change completed to the left here. He changes only in front feet next, then on the turn catches his hind lead too. Loses rhythm, breaks to a trot to get the correct lead. When he's turned by the reins without leg aids, it makes these disunited steps. He changes to disunited. His hindquarters cowlope outside his front leg. And now to 360-degree inside rolls. This is the smallest loping circle Bull and Walkie can make to the left. They waste a lot of country and time. To the right, he does the same. Wildly covers lots of country, but can't do inside rolls. It'd be difficult, like old Jim Williams says, to be at the right place at the right time with the least amount of fuss. And now roll back from the left to the right lead. Hoo-yah, gets a shade western, don't it? Watch Walkie's head fighting and slinging. Lots of fuss and wasted energy for a simple rollback, isn't it? The horse's head fighting helps to throw him all out of balance. Walkie is always willing and tries to do what the rider wants, but he never can unless Bull learns rein, weight, and leg aids. Walkie changes leads and does an inside roll here instead of a rollback. And the same here. An inside roll takes more time and space than a rollback. Watch the head fighting. It's not the horse's fault because the upper shank of the curb bit jams into his jaw. And it hurts, like when a man gets kicked on his shins. This slow motion rollback shows how wild things can be even when they are too fast for the eye, unless you know what to look for. Old Bull really does a wonderful job for these demonstrations. All right, Bull, lean forward and kick back. Let's get some speed. Now give us that one yak whoa. Well, that's a typical gunsel whoa, all right. It wasn't a balanced stop, but at least Walkie stopped. All right, Bull, bust the breeze again. Uh-oh, Walkie had to be off the sideboards to stay in the arena. Whoa, snide. No, folks, these are not balanced stops. We hope to give you the facts on stops in another film. This film, Introduction to Horsemanship, shows why both horses and riders need fundamental schooling for performance efficiency. It's the performance that counts. Here's a grand champion at performance, yet she has had only 2 months of systematic training when this film was taken. At the slow lope, here's her drop to a trot change. Notice how quietly she works. Her name, Hatopa, is Indian, meaning 4 horns. Her spots are characteristic of the Appaloosa breed. Her work has little waist motion. Yes, the right place, at the right time, with the least amount of fuss. She stops in balance. Balance to roll or turn either way. Here's a stop, then pick up, roll back to the right lead. A stop, pick up, roll back to the left lead. The mare's leads are correct both ways. And now here's her running or flying changes of leads. Here's the first. Front feet changing first, then her hind feet changing in the same stride. Here's the second. Now, number 3. Another complete change. Still pretty fast for the eye, isn't it? Whoa, baby, back up a couple of steps, then pick up and roll back at a wide open speed. An all-speed handle means to handle at every speed. Here's a running roll back to the left. Just think what she'd do with a year's work instead of just 2 months' training. Sure, she could learn to do a lot better, but she did pretty good at the Appaloosa show at Baird, Texas, where we had a horseman named Ben Johnson for a judge. She was grand champion mare at halter and grand champion at performance. She won 5 first, 1 second, and a fourth out of 8 classes. Yes, sir, it's sure fun to train and show a pony with championship temperament and ability. Haytopa is owned by the Ottermans, who ranch near San Antonio, Texas. Hope you enjoyed the picture. Got more coming pretty soon. This is Monte Foreman saying adios, amigos.